Hi guys, what's up? I hope you're all having a great day so far. This is Grade Achievers, your hub for accessing educational content. In today's lesson, we will be learning about Roman numerals and how to use them correctly. We know that the ancient Romans used certain letters to write numbers. Even today, the building dates on some very famous monuments are marked in Roman numerals, like on the side of Big Ben, for example. And we can often see Roman numerals on our clocks and watches. Not only this, but throughout history, kings and queens were named and remembered using Roman numerals, such as Henry VII, meaning he was the 7th Henry to rule over England. Roman numerals were also used to record numbers on stone tablets, art, and on coins. However, this was a very long time ago. Sadly, these days, their usefulness is limited, but they're still important to understand. Nowadays, they are often used for items in a list, chapter headings, copyright dates, and often to mark film sequels, such as Star Wars. Okay, let's jump into the basics behind Roman numerals. First up, here are the letters we use to denote some of the core numbers. I is equal to 1, V is equal to 5, X is equal to 10, L is equal to 50, C is equal to 100, D is equal to 500, and then last but not least, M is equal to 1000. Great, these are the pillar numbers that we are going to build off in the rest of the lesson. Now we need to understand and memorize 3 important rules that are often used to write Roman numerals. The first is the rule of repetition, the second is the rule of addition, and the last one is the rule of subtraction. Let's start with the rule of repetition. When a symbol is repeated twice or 3 times in a row, its value is multiplied by 2 or 3 respectively. For example, X stands for 10, while XX stands for 2 multiplied by 10, in other words, 20. The symbols I, X, C, and M can only be repeated a maximum of 3 times. For example, we can write 1 as I, 2 as II, 3 as III in the Roman system, but we can't write 4 as III. We write it as IV, in other words, 1 before 5, but that's going to be covered in the third rule. And last but not least for the rule of repetition, the symbol V, L, and D can never be repeated, i.e. the symbols for 5, 50, and 500 can't be repeated at all. Which means we can't write the number 25 by repeating the letter V as VV, instead we need to write it as XXV, 2 10s and then a 5. So if you want to count by 10 in Roman numerals, it looks a little like this. X equals 10, XX equals 20, XXX equals 30, XL equals 40, L equals 50, LX equals 60, LXX equals 70, LXXX equals 80, XC equals 90, and then C equals 100. Okay, now let's look at our second rule, the rule of addition, which states that if a symbol of smaller value is written to the right of a symbol of a larger value, then we add the smaller value to the larger one. For example, if we are given the numeral xi, and we know that the x stands for 10, while I stands for 1, now I being the smaller one to the right of the significant number 10, the two values get added together, and we get 11 as the outcome. Let's see another example. What do you think the numeral XXXIII stands for? Feel free to give the video a pause and try it for yourselves. Because of the 3 ones in front of the 30, we know that this stands for 33. You have probably already observed now that there isn't a symbol for 0 in Roman numerals, which is proved to be one of the most significant flaws of this number system, since 0 has become a popular number as history has progressed, like in the financial world for example. Now we come on to our third and final rule, which is the rule of subtraction. This is basically just the inverse of the addition rule, so we don't need to spend too long on it. This rule states if a symbol of smaller value is written to the left of a symbol of a greater value, then we subtract the smaller value from the larger one. For example, let us take the number xc. As we know from before that c stands for 100, while x stands for 10. Since x is the smaller number and it is placed to the left of the larger number c, the smaller 10 gets subtracted from the 100 and we get 90 as the outcome. In other words, xc equals 100 minus 10 equals 90. Secondly, the symbol v, l and d, like before in the rule of repetition, are all immune to this rule and cannot be subtracted from any numeral. For example, 95 can't be written as 100 minus 5, or VC. It can only be written as 95 equals 90 plus 5, which is equal to XCV, where XC stands for 90, as explained in the subtraction rule, and we just added V, hence obtaining 95 as the final result. I, X, and C are the only numerals used for subtracting, or shall I say, are the only ones that can be subtracted. Hence there are only the following 6 combinations possible out of subtraction. These are as follows. IV equals 5 minus 1, which equals 4. XI equals 10 minus 1, or in other words 9. XL equals 50 minus 10, or 40. XC equals 100 minus 10, like 90, as we've just seen. Or CD, 500 minus 100 equals 400. Then lastly, CM, 1000 minus 100, which gives us 900. Next, we are going to learn how to read and write larger Roman numerals, using these 3 rules we've just learnt. Let us look at an example now. Let's say that we have a number with the symbol MCMXXV. So as the first step, we will write this number by breaking it into thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones, as done on the whiteboard now. So we have in the thousands column the M, and in the hundreds column the CM. In the tenths column we've got the 2 X's. Now we can convert them to normal numbers and add them all up. So we've got 1000 plus 900 plus 20 plus 5, giving the answer 1925. So that's how years can be written in Roman numerals. Let's look at a harder example from the other way round. How can we write the number 4815 in Roman numerals? We first write the number in expanded place value notation, just like we did before. We have 4000 in the thousands column, 800 in the hundreds column, 10 in the tens column, and 5 in the units column. Now writing the Roman numeral value for each of these, we get 4000 as M, 800 as D, C, 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 10 we know is just X, and then 5, which is V. Hence we can write the number 4815 as M, D, C, 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 X, V. Okay, so that's all for today's lesson, guys. I hope you had as much fun as me in learning the Roman numeral system. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon to get a notification of all our future videos on unique educational topics for all ages that you will find exciting and entertaining at the same time.